So I taught a class yesterday on search engine optimization for writers. And one of the questions that came up, as always happens with any class about internet stuff, is social media. And let's talk specifically about Twitter, because that's one of the biggies, and that lets me kind of narrow things down. But A, with social media, don't use it unless you enjoy it. Honestly, if you're not enjoying it, if you're looking at it as a duty or a responsibility or something you gotta do, in my opinion, you should leave it alone. Find something that brings you joy and use that. I like Twitter, and as a writer, I have two modes that I use it as. The first of these is my personal mode, I guess you'd call it. And this is just sort of, here is me posting things I like and replying to people. And here's a picture of my breakfast toast. And here's a house plant I just repotted. And here's a selfie with an octopus, that sort of thing. Totally cool. That's me having a fun time and enjoying, and that's a very valid mode to use Twitter in. The second mode that I use it in is as a promotional tool. And do I use it this way all the time? No, because frankly, I'm lazy and it takes time to set up to use as a promotional tool. So when my Twitter is in sort of that mode, one of the things that has happened is I put the work into scheduling tweets ahead of time. I use a tool to do that called Buffer. And I usually schedule a week's worth of tweets where you're getting to an hour. It's a very regulated flow. And that flow is 90 to 100%, depending on how conscientious I'm being, things like images that I think people will like, pointers to news stories, pointers to fiction, pointers to writing tips. And I think of it as a tiny little magazine of curated content. And sometimes it has me in there tweeting about the breakfast toast. And when I'm not there doing that, then there's still a regular little flow of, here's something you might enjoy, here's a resource for you, uh, content that is entertaining and useful. One of the things that I do often is tweet. You'll see tweets marked hashtag story seed. And I've talked in another video how I use hashtags, but those story seeds are part of one of the features of my little magazine. And because it's a promotional tool, like one out of every, I don't know, 8 to 10 tweets is something that promotes me, right? That says, hey, here's a pointer to my book. If you're enjoying what I'm saying, here's a pointer to my YouTube channel. Here's something that just came out on Medium. And you don't want to do that all the time, right? If you wouldn't buy a magazine that was just like, buy this, buy this, buy this, that would be really irritating. But we buy magazines because they have other content and all that promotional stuff gets slipped in. And if the magazine's being reasonable about it, we don't worry about it too much. That is the accepted model. We will not talk about capitalism or advertising or anything like this, since I am not ranting politically, but I'm just telling you how I use a tool. But that's how I use Twitter. So if you're curious about how you're coming off on Twitter, the best thing that I think you can do is go look back at your Twitter stream, look at the last 20 to 30 tweets and replies. That's how you're coming off on Twitter. And so I try not to fire off 20 angry political tweets in a row, but there's a few here and there. That's my brand, right? I do tend to talk about politics every once in a while, and I talk about writing and I show you pictures that amuse me, and that's Twitter. All right, so I'm happy to answer questions about that, or if there's some other social media phenomenon that is mystifying you, if you like, I'll talk about it. One of the things I've been exploring recently is Instagram, doing more with Instagram. In fact, you may be seeing this video on Instagram, or you may be seeing it on YouTube. So I'm doing more with that. And I just created an account on Hive, which is apparently the latest social network. So who knows? All right. So please like, comment, subscribe, that sort of thing. Let me know what you think, though. I'm always interested.